Aren't you tired of this cycle yet? Ready, drop, die. Ready, drop, die. Hit ready, drop, die! How are you even playing that game without knowing what the strongest guns are this season? Hello everyone, my name is HFA. I've spent nearly 5000 hours in Apex Legends, hit Season 3 Predator and always relying on TTK charge that I'm making. Let me share my knowledge with you. So by the end of video, you're gonna know all the strongest weapons in that season and will be always picking up the fastest killing guns while others keep running with garbage. Previously, I've done SMG, shotguns and sniper TTK comparisons with very interesting revelations. So before we combine all the results together into one ultimate TTK chart, we need to fill missing parts of our puzzle with assault rifles and machine guns. So let's run the test. Don't know about you, but I'm very curious, will the buffed LMG take over the meta this season? As a bonus, I included Rampart minigun and Vantage ult to our comparison, so stay till the end, it's gonna be interesting. To compare the effectiveness of each gun against the others, we time how long it takes from the moment the bullet counter starts to decrease until the health bar above the target disappears. And once we have that time, we get a clear picture of which guns truly dominate in TTK. Also, we do the same for headshots, because there might be some significant deviations in performance, like with EVA 8 or Rampart's ult. Surprisingly, Devotion didn't get far ahead from his ground competitors. I wish it stands out more, like R99 this season. And you can clearly tell that from ground weapons, L-Star is the best option here. TTK is good, iron sights are good, and you don't need any rare models for peak performance. Purple magazine is always welcomed, but it affects only how long you can fire before overheat and cooling speed, which is basically damage output per clip, but DPS at all times remains the same. I bet you already typing about Rampage, and I got a few strong reasons why it sucks. First, you will be constantly balancing between top-notch fire rate and the worst possible when overcharge goes off. And believe me, you don't wanna get into those situations in the middle of a fight. You need to constantly look for the thermite grenades in order to keep your gun at the top performance for 1.5 clip. And then waste extra time after reload to overcharge it again. And at last circles you won't find any termites, because nobody is using this weakest grenade, or they already have been thrown at each other. And the second reason, which is even more important, by keeping termites you are just wasting valuable slots which could be used for normal grenades, which you could throw at enemy and get way more profit out of that. And the ability of breaking doors with overcharge does not cover all the negative aspects of it. Spitfire is good, especially for mid-range, but can hardly compete up close with SMGs and ARs. Biggest benefit is max size and low recoil, so if you strafe well enough, you can punish enemies for their misses when they go for reload or weapon swap and you are still shooting. To me, it's a jack of all trades, and I'm picking it up when running a sniper rifle. But when you run with Spitfire into melee builds, like Vault plus Peacekeeper, it's not so great and more often than not, you're gonna lose. So you need a cheeky approach for those fights. And the headshot test didn't change anything, so we move into AR test. While I was making this video, devs released patch notes, so in the second split they taken out from the game turbocharger. And that makes Havoc a very unstable gun, just like Rampage. So now you need to pre-fire to start shooting in time. If you do it too late, then your TTK is worse than half of the best ARs. If you perfectly execute that, then your TTK is top-notch. Not many players will now wanna gamble like that, and all it comes down to a user skill. Let me know in the comments what do you think about those changes. Do you like them or not? Or maybe you just sick of this Havoc, which been so good for so many seasons. As far as I remember, even in season 14, Havoc was the superior in terms of TTK. Hold on, let me see my archive. Yep, I got it. This is how Metaverse looks like in Season 11, so can you imagine that people were sleeping on Havoc for so long, and for some reason it became a problem only now. And that's how meta looks like in current season. And now it's time to combine all the obtained results. Here is my ultimate spreadsheet. The most optimal choice from ours is Flatline. It doesn't require any wind up or charge or anything else to perform at its best. And with headshots it pretty much keeps up with R99, Havoc and Charged Energy Hemlock, making it a solid choice even for close range. Akimbo Mosums and EVA 8 are the best option for close distances. If you aim at the chin with EVA, you're gonna erase your opponents real quick. On the other hand, Mosums grant you a bigger engagement range. But if enemy can lure you into a poking battle with PK or Mastiff, then TTK doesn't matter, and damage per shot is the king in this situation. If you prefer more range, then Vault, Prowler and Car are your second best option. R99 is very tricky this season. It's worth picking up only when you plan to bin with it at shotgun range, that's 3 to 5 meters. This SMG quickly loses its power as the distance increases, and at 10 meters already being outperformed by other SMGs. And now is the cherry on top of cake, a hand shield which grants you a huge edge over your opponent. Look how drastically it changes the TTK of Flatline, making an underdog from a chart leader. And the same applies for headshots. I know it's kinda nerdy stuff, but bear with me, I promise it blows your mind. Now we put to a test Caustic and Gibby with their damage reduction and extra hand shield. Now that's what I call the shocking result. Caustic passive combined with the shield just sends one of the strongest gun straight to a dumpster. And here goes headshots. And now it's time for Giga Chungus. Holy f***, it's like 50% difference in time. Oh my goodness. In that scenario, even shitty uncharged Rampage can obliterate Flatline. Unfucking believable. And if you try to rip through shields to a head, it just brings you to 1.4 seconds. But I'm not done yet. We got a Revenant with ultimate pirate with hand shield. In the current patch, Revenant health got nerfed a little from the moment I record that, so updated results would be a little lower. But still, that chunk of health with mobility and fast crouch speed is an absolute killing machine. Now it's time for our special guests, the Sheila and folding crappy sniper rifle which got buffed this season. By the way, not a single sniper or marksman rifle couldn't pass the mark of 1.6 seconds to kill, so I made a separate spreadsheet for them as for ranged weapons. Long story short, this season rocks Charged Sentinel with headshots, longbow and G7 Scout for shorter ranges. Charged rifle sucks like hell even on a big range where it can kill in 2 shots. Vantage sniper is not as bad as charged rifle, but not as good as Charged Sentinel, so I don't know why do it even exist. The only one good reason about that is that a projectile with range grows almost 2 times bigger than a regular one. And you literally shoot in watermelons. Check this out, how big the difference is. If the blue circle barely touches a target, it's gonna be hit. With Sentinel you need a precise shot, so I don't know how I feel about sniping when you can shoot near the target and still hit. That casual sniping, it just blows my mind and ruins the whole point of sniping. And Botsek is kinda meh. If you want more details, check the specific video on my channel, there is a lot of nuances. And now moving to Sheila. This is a true beast. Just check this out, it beats any ground weapon in terms of damage. Only R99 can compete with that, and poking shotguns. That's insane, not a single weapon in a game cannot even stand close to that. Don't know about you, but I'm planning to use that as main weapon. That's why we need to measure headshots TTK. Sometimes difference in results is just mind-blowing. And by the way, second split is already started, so if you are short on playing time or don't wanna grind those BP levels, check out that video on how to lazy speedrun BP by barely playing a game and get all those shiny skins in time.